Hello, people. Hello, brilliant people. Let me put my music back on. No, I like this. Hello, my people. This is my flower of the week. We're good. So, this is going to be Who Speaks through the Ancestral channel. This is an experienced event. This is an informed event. This is the highest intent to my choice. Okay, this is how we're going to hear it. Aries, Taurus, Libra, Virgo, Scorpio, and Capricorn, Aquarius. Those are the first three sheets that I heard. Then we're going to go into Sagittarius, Libra, Capricorn, Pisces. You know what I mean? Gemini. Okay, but what I felt in the beginning measure is the third house with Gemini and Virgo, and Scorpio was there. A lot of right now wanting to be credible, and in that way of credibility, altering a state of mind because one wishes to actually now interfere in a state of appearance and not just to the speculation of some sorts. So there's an ancestral patient message I heard about transferring off right now to also the gratitude we need to be giving leeway to Sagittarius, Aries, Libras, Scorpios, and this could be in our own placements. Look at your own houses, or if you diary write and actually take for regard your own essential need to reappear in your day-to-day, communicating those as well, so that you can also see yourself as well and be able to create a spectrum of measurement towards what you see. So the third house is going to be speculative of the ancestors already telling you something needing to learn to balance, and it's because it has a lot of energy to come into, right? So that's what Geminis need to ground. Scorpios and Libras, it feels to me that there's going to be a lot of higher measurable exchanges that could fortify some of your inheritance or some of your money. So be cautious right now. I feel Sagittarius, Scorpios, Libras, or the ones that take for understanding a later strategy for the improvement and the increase. One who is able to learn through also the no willing of, yes, what I was going to say, spirit, which was the fourth sheath and to the seventh sheath, is about a choice. It is speaking about a choice we have here when we do balance our ratios or come to the advantage of all of our energy or exchange. And this is really and highlighting of a lot of ancestral energies around the sphere because it allows us to engage with each other. Today, I heard when in my meditation, as I'm weaving, as I'm even walking, I'm crossing like I'm weaving to the earth, meaning that the earth was communicating to me that it was a grand ancestral spirit, that you're walking somewhere. I'm not joking. I feel like someone's walking with me. And not like that, but it's like, I'm like, and it's like, it feels very grounded. So that's also showing me like the first house with Aries and Taurus, which is going to be strong themes about the evolutionary childhood exchange, the interference, because it's something that earth signs need to respect now. They have to compare and give themselves the ratio. I think the ancestors this year will teach you through great regard. When gifts are well met, it's because the pleasure is here to be. One knows how to evoke space here. So take your time because that's where you're staying in the space. And I see a lot of things like certain also signs or houses that have energy with the sun that is balanced for people right now. You're going to know this because your charisma, when it vibrates really high, it doesn't neutralize things around it, but in the same magnetism of that, it does show a greater dialogue for a greater picture of power when it must in the midst of neutrality. So I feel the grand ancestral spirit and the grand divine universe bring me abundance in my monetary increase, as well as it's a funny thought to think of this as well, which is sometimes spirit does protect you when you are underground or low key or very underground and even your whatever it may be. So this is a little bit too much of my imprint of speaking. Thank you, Divine Spirit. Thank you. So who speaks to you through the ancestral channel? I'm listening to my own music, so I'm very happy right now. Sometimes you can think the best of a situation because you have totally released tyranny. Get to that get to that nature of understanding around April, especially with something about Uranus and Taurus. When Uranus comes into a balanced prospects of what it moves, it starts to recognize a strong inherent ability, which is that when people grow in a successful business, even a business that they have found challenges but a lot of love to grow, they have this witness of inheritance they're able to now coach on upon others. It feels to me there's an ancestral spirit does speak about this first energy of pile being not in counselorship, but understanding where you could take your words very clearly. And there are progressive people here that still know how to hold and exchange certain ties. And it's going to be because the ancestors know exactly who you are here to outreach. And it's something that you will find an intimate growing with yourself. You won't be in front of outreaches to analyze and fight for your love. That is exactly what the earth spirits really want to make it clear for this pile about. Whatever you're learning about your tribe, your ancestry, or even who you are as a being, even right now with who you are in the being, in the energy. Sorry, spirit. So for the first pile. Well, I centered, so very strong card. Strength. You, okay. There will be a lot of ancestral inheritance, that you will revolutionize this pile. And you have to really understand the assertiveness of willingness and right, also in the prospects of acceptance and allowance, and who we learn it from. That also asserts our tonation around the choices we make when we bear that tone. So it's speaking to me that this revolutionary energy that you were just finishing about your protection work, which you should really get now on the phase of, because we are past that. And the thing also about this first pile is it starts to inhibit things that I already had done. And that's an engagement and needed to learn for itself. And it's speaking here to me about something about a memory as well of a childhood evolutionary energy. So it speaks to me that you're over exceeding your expectations of discomfort, because you know this world is a space that actually comes to expand you. And in the space that comes to expand you, you learn, you learn, you learn both what is not needed and you learn both what is needed. But the most important part about what you learn is you've always been the circumference. You've always been in the sphere of where divine has seen you as a perfect picture. You've been calling it in, stopping time, using your abilities, exchanging differently in order for you to say it is to the wind spirits. Your water-like tonations come to inherit you a big power of something that you are brave to uphold now for yourself. So I guess what we're learning this year is about cycles. So it feels to me there has to be some support with you from the female energy as close intent, and then there has to be a strong regard for something that is either in a creation or an enclosure based off something the ancestors needed you to see, or something you pushed through time to communicate of time, or to communicate something about time. So it's speaking to me first before I see the cards, because they're all closed. So this is energies we can communicate, we could be very conscious about. You are learning a deep lesson of who speaks to you about idealism. You are learning a big lesson about your sacrifice as something more total to you. This has not been something you have been able to referend or refer to yourself. But now it's an exchange in which you are opening and ascending, which is showing me that divine spirit is going to communicate to you that there's actually a way, whatever you're asking for. It's also showing me, though, that if you place in a position where you were trying to go somewhere, you were trying to ascend, you were trying to maybe extend yourself in a way that didn't need to be extended at that time. Because it speaks to me that the fire energy, there's going to be an energy that you need to balance, and it's called confinement. It's going to be September 2024 to 2023 to 2024 theme. It's going to be about confinement, and also the measure where divine spirit's still giving you a source in your choice of where you think you are confined to. But you have been rehabilitating a new matter growth fire signs about trying to judge your persona, or now bringing your practice under measurement of how you know how to judge. Meaning, I see someone in energy get a lawyer, because he's been working for himself since a very young age, and he thought about this energy and he woke the fuck up and said, why would I put myself in dumb positions just so I can exceed the energy of, look at me now, I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to go actually speak to a lawyer and know how to measure my worth by how I can protect my space, my website. So no one needs to make me extend past myself. So no one makes me need to, do you see? So whatever these things are closed down for you, it speaks to me the prospects of the beginning of the cards. The feeling felt strong, and something you need to maybe learn to ascend or are learning to ascend. But it's all good cards. So it's speaking to me that you may be right now, from what I'm maybe flipping, you may be putting too much. Oh, it's a lot of growth. you're just used to controlling some aspect of yourself, and that's okay because Spirit divinely made it move off. So, right now, what you need to understand about who speaks to you through the ancestral channel is you are building a deliverance with how you are creating a source and attaching it to the rhythm and intent in which you are creating it for. And your intent to interfere, or this flower vase that just actually poured right on me. But that happened many times because I don't know why I'm just like, let me go get a table and do my reading, but it has to be on this bed. But I cleansed it, no, for real. And I've been protecting, yes. So what I'm trying to say is it was like movement that then made you experience something very honest, very full. And it worked out for you because the divine spirit put something in your way. So we're speaking about the tailgated snake. And speaking about the tailgated snake underneath the priestess. So you need to also, as your protection for the next path of your strength, because you want to get to an inheritance of strength. I heard it in the beginning of the reading. Strength. So what Spirit is communicating to me, the next protection you must take into consideration is what is leaning and harboring against you, because there's actually more needed from you to extend your time, that you will have fun in a time that you will extend to. Right? Your question and your intent sometimes may be connected to things that are not hurtful. And so you are on an extension of a change that you saw yourself, and your change actually was satirical and came back together. You are needing to increase your rhythm. Yes. Your ancestors communicate, move slow. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of noise coming in. It feels like to me at first. So it's about making sure that you carry right now a strong relationship with who you are at your greatest intent, so nothing harbors against on it. Because based off the means and measures to where things are not, and people don't connect and communicate the truth to each other, there's actually a lot of people that are having different relations and different exchanges based off their intent to materialize a willingness and exchange. And it's kind of, to me, speaking about evoking a truth where there's been a lot of people to push your ancestors aside from you, to push things aside. Even you may seem yourself in a situation you may be harboring a lot of anger and intent and resistance for, but it's really just trying to show you a way that you're pushing path and saying that life is not walking amongst feet. Life is driving a road and driving through the road. Imagine driving through the road next to someone that you love. This is what I'm trying to say. It feels something's being passed and pushed to the side. So your ancestors, that was the first energy of the clearing, because we know how to speak. So who speaks through you through the channel is saying that they know how to speak to you, that they may have taught you before. They may have thought about you when you were in school, when you were in grade 3 when you were, wherever you were at 11, 15, 16, 12, 17, 26, 27, 37, 32, 41, wherever. Someone, okay, it's either someone needs to take care of their feet, and that all we're talking about is your feet are already parallel to the earth. You may want a mat. You may want to, even today I did acupuncture needles, but it's those little mats, and I just stepped on it. So I keep seeing also someone, the ancestors say someone needs to go ahead with that spa at home. Someone needs to go ahead with that. Look at the back that you forgot. Make something just right now. Oh, I made a mask. Oh, I made this. Oh, I made that. That's what I'm feeling. Is opening up and extending through a gravity that a lot of other people will be assuming and consuming and ignoring. This is something that the ancestors are moving into, a foundational healing that this reading needs to get to. So this pile, which is the next sector, this is a very provocative or provoking, excuse me. I keep saying provocative, but I don't mean what it means. I mean like it's provoking. Okay, so first, this is what I want to speak about for the luxury, because I was tuning it with the Thoth deck. Luxury is coming into the timeless reading and the energy for this week or this time. And the thing about luxury that it's teaching us a lesson is luxury isn't at its finest when it is close to us. Do you understand? When it's closed from us? Excuse me. When it's closed to us. So there's going to be a quantum, there's going to be a theme in the energy about Neptune. So Neptune is the way that throughout time we grow and develop, and we start to inherit our intent, our muscles, our growth, our inheritance. Even throughout time we don't see and we don't hear. And it's also a great moment for also different vibrations and noises of the ancestors, deemed through your bloodline, deemed through your bones, deemed through your name, deemed through your esteem, deemed through your grace, if you so please it be. Those are the times that they have to intentionalize with ultraviolet light that is very inhibited, because it is the balance of the infrared, which comes to a leniency of absorption, which is a faraway light or a yellow light or a neon type of burst light, a natural light, something the rainbow can do. So do you understand what luxury is? It's the quintessential theme of not just a fountain in the garden with the tulips opening up to the cat, opening up to the ground of the home, opening up to the street. Meaning that the ancestral spirit will remind this pile coming in, or is reminding you stepping up, that it has to be about a balanced theme with the luxury, because luxury is going to allow you to also grow in the maturity with a voice. It's almost like when children grow up and their parents subject them. How can you subject something that is actually right now DNA coding opening up? That was what I said at a young age to my mom, a very young age. And she was like, what language do you speak? And I'm just like, ooh, I speak my pride, baby. Like, I speak the fucking earth. I speak the earth. You have the earth in the house. Hi. Because how do you say that at such a young age? Like, that's smart as hell. What the hell? It's true. So it does speak to me again about themes of coming back to reclusiveness, not just isolation or aloneness, but something that we're meant to practice to come into a peace with our body as a revolutionary art and spirit, to communicate a way of arms. And if you have a strong ability, path, congruent ritual, and great words, and this ability to extend yourself, the ancestors are saying, yeah, just be a little bit lighter, because that way we can give you strong pull. And actually, it deems to me that you can also adjust it. So you're a person that and is naturally creative, is naturally sportive, naturally knows how to open up and elucidate a new detention and, intention of a new static growth and way, because the questions have to be clear around this pile. Okay. I want to speak to this one ancestor I felt. I wanted to speak to a girl, but it doesn't need to be heard from anybody or her. It could be heard through the eccentric energy of someone else hearing it, and their intonation with someone else that inherits it. Okay? Oh, and the cards say exactly what I mean. So the ancestral spirit's coming through for a message about an energy that somebody is experiencing, and the energy in which you are experiencing, it feels to me that there's a situation where sometimes when there's been put a lot of stress on a situation for rivalry or confrontance, one needs to come into the understanding at this moment in time that when spirit moves the regard of your view, that's not always just your lane and just who you are and just this and just that. There's two ancestral spirits speaking to me, that a group of people and the voice of ancestors regarding in friendships or in a specific partner or in a specific energy or to this entity I'm speaking to for you specifically, they need to understand that the story is the domino effect. That means they needed to see the way that you were meant to be built. Because it seems to me that you've been going through a lot of revelation of love, and not in the revolution of taking it away from yourself, but leaning it more into the comfort of yourself first as a home. You may not know everybody. You may not know those people. You may not need to know everybody, because it feels to me like a karma of something that needed to be distinguished and early growth aspired to. Or it speaks to me about also a woman being seen by the ancestral spirit, many women, and not just through women. It could be through the inheritance of a tone through a man. I'm not speaking just here for the divine art. I'm speaking exactly to my motherfucking family. I know who I'm speaking to. So second pile, who this ancestral link is communicating to is show up in who you are, because it's actually something that can rearrange a room that you are proceeding. There's a childlike intimate moment. Spirit also is attuning not to get you scared or to make you revolutionize like that your life is inferior. It just sometimes happens when we grow up. We start to actually deny and bully our inner child and hurt and victimize it. And even every time I used to say, oh no, but I love my, no. I knew that it would be the innocence I would grow up with, and then it would be the taking of her innocence and forgetting that you denied her. And that's okay. Bitch, walk all over us. Because where you're leaning more into the energy of what you hate, I'm getting deja vu in this bitch. It's because God puts you in an energy and you're like, oh shit, I didn't move a cube, God moved the cube and I became the cube. God wants you to inherit the cube. God wants you to stand up in the revolutionary energy of what you know God will propose and accept of you, this pile. God knows you're going to be tested by God in the purification of limitations and appraisals that you have not met, that's still not knowing how to meet. But you will get memories of this not to hurt you, but so you could strategize and let yourself know what the reappearance of the celebration is. Maybe it wasn't because you wanted to cry all year about your birthday and about who you were. Maybe it's because you're starting to notice that maybe the people around you did not really care for themselves and their own growth. They turned away from themselves. Maybe it's because you're overall so excellence and always been maintaining your own time, but experiencing a lot through the gravity of you traveling now. I keep seeing God right behind you, and you're just walking. And I know for a fact on the street, sometimes you stop yourself and you get intimate and you get very hurt when you feel like God is talking to you and you turn your ass around like, is this really happening to me? Am I being denied? No, God is looking out for you. You know, like, I understand you. It's because God is tracing you. God knows how to take care of you. He's about to take care of you. Like, you know what I mean? Your essence, your intent, whoever may be, like you. Yes, the high priestess. So, yes, third pile. And that's why I don't want mascara. Because I'm like, oh, it's just easier. Okay. Last pile. Thank you, God. Who speaks to the souls? You can feel for yourself what's coming for you. You have been hibernating and taking care of yourself, a very strong spirit of yourself. Yes, we have Aries. Stand up. We have Aries stand up. Aries is going to have a revolutionary message. And Aries needs to take care of their business because Aries is going to have a different type of increase with the star that moves past the earth or past the seams in 2027. And you guys don't even know this, but the Aries are meant to be pushed because of this. You guys may not even know this. This is really hierarchical energy and hierarchical message. But Aries, you know what I'm going to be talking about, or you know when it happens, what I'm talking about. You know the feelings. Aries always knows when they get lucky. Think about it. Why don't you use more time and space to get into that energy? You may actually practice something that you can, cross off on a bucket, like on a box, Say, hey, I did this and it actually increased my value by this much, So it's so funny because the ancestors want me to tune more into the marbles because the lesson, I know this is who's speaking through the channel, but it feels to me all of these are lessons about who's speaking through the sheath and channel. And just now it's actually the sunset. Thank you, God. I've been in my meditation. Excuse me, but in my meditation, when you like get a glimmer, and I forgot to draw it and write it down. But it was exactly a moment in time I just saw now. And I'm just like, oh shit, I forgot to. But it's not because I forgot. The ancestors are saying you guys are in a balance of a rhythm. You're supposed to be taking care of like this. It's not about finishing though. So whatever's needing to be around you, you're supposed to have a good time. You have to understand how you need to engage in continuing because your growth also needs you, not just for standards. You're going to see something past your word, past your scenes, past your personality, past an image, past a gift, past something that comes through. You're going to see past the ancestral evolutionary power has insisted on you to see a conscious growth of being exchanged. That's why I said about Aries. I said Aries, y'all always know when the alignments are aligned before other people, right? Just like Virgos or just like Taurus. I swear to you, some energies. It feels to me also there's going to be a lot of ancestral spirits around the time that you're listening to this in revolutionary arts. Something about extension things, something about mismatching, crossovering, something about what I mean by this specifically is like you will start to understand how your ancestors expand through your journey of how you view them. And you're seeing them grow in life that they're learning to expand also, and you're seeing it. Has this pile been incorporating more about the power of their sight? Or this pile is coming back to something about their sight? Yeah, the ancestors, you're coming back to something about a power, and you're being reminded by someone very confident, able to illuminate, or somebody also that you're seeing in yourself, meaning time and place you take. Yeah, so you're balancing in a power or in a time, or you're now in a more strong procession of your business. It speaks to me. That's why I said that the future is going to bring that revolutionary energy. I also heard a lot of hype energy around Taurus season of 2024 for you, as greater karma being given to you as a gratitude. You're also going to be remembrance of an energy that you always knew how to see through yourself, or you always knew how to support and take care of who you're meant to see in this journey. This is what's coming through you, and it speaks through you through the sheath. It's also giving me a lot of energy that meant to be given to Scorpios, Tauruses, Libras, Virgos at this time in terms of self-confidence with what Mars wants to give to you. You're going to be also supported through Uranus as well. So it speaks to me also that the revolutionary power of what you're now placing and now structuring and increasing with. The ancestor is saying something about knowing how to get deep into something to be able to also know how to tune it, or being able to practice something, or start to get very open-minded and lessening your stress and wanting to be in a relaxed state to practice and learn something. Not because you're like, oh, she told me to do it so I can increase money and she's a spiritual coach. I would insist of this of something when you do have to listen to relaxation, so that it doesn't come to an extension you cannot grow. Remember what you thought about yourself at a young age, is that you had this ability to use the space, transfer the space, but it's felt like you're limiting yourself in the past because of a father figure. There could also be somebody who has a strong energy on you, or what you're going to revolutionize in 2024 is initially what the ancestors want to bring to you is a choice about what you tune in the respects of which you increase and still using your abilities. It was always meant to be inheritance being given to you. But there is also something that's coming in the way, that there's going to be half an audience right now that splits all of a sudden. And Spirit is saying half of you guys are not going to go there. Half of you guys are going to go here. So it speaks to me that this is the revolutionary card of how the respects are towards the waters in which we carry, meaning the retrospects of our tests, commitments, and our strategies, and our self-respect to ourselves. Not hiding and not trying to make it a mature phase of something we can't take care of, because that's still what scares you about that revolutionary path of a father figure. Now learning about the deeds about it. See, some things that aren't seen in the cards before are a lot about your guys' energy before protection, before realization, intent. So it's just trying to show me that sometimes we have to be around people and be next to someone and the appearance of what we want to revolutionize in relaxation, because it allows us to inherit back to our abilities, and back to the abilities, there's going to be a strong space that's going for you. If you take the acceptance of going down this path, there's going to be something about the waters or something revolutionary, which will not just extend you, which will not just get you to acceptance, because money is money and money is growth, and God knows that you need money. So what your father figure should have taught you, or what a father figure or a situation that did not take accountability of the way that it had hurt you, or that is now taking control of you, that is the situation. Spirit is here so heavenly to say that you are meant to recognize that the healing that comes through this is not that you were damaged and that you were conquered and taken back, but Spirit's been needing you to kind of look at the bigger picture and extend yourself. And this is not to hurt anybody, but this power, I see someone just pulling you up. So it speaks to me that it is time to really breathe in the vessel. And the trauma that we receive sometimes from our identities and from other people and other situations, we have to sometimes understand our nature, understand our natural energy, our natural environment, our natural breath, our intent, our body, and only respect further ways, so that we also refresh our matters. So our matters go in both coordinates of better ways when we are taking for care of it. So sometimes we will need other people to speak up for us, or sometimes we will need to learn how to speak up for ourselves without needing to deter it by physical application of it in action, by physical application of it, spending too much time in the physical plane of it, but not knowing how to revolutionize its emotional body. So it speaks to me that inherent thing that you're leaving a lot in the past of is coming from a lot of judgment. And if so, that has to be balanced, because the ancestral spirit of God cannot come in if you do not also take for granted or say take for part, communicating it out. So the lesson with a lot of Aries Tauruses are people who God wants to extend you, and you're probably placed somewhere like, how am I gonna let go? I feel like the Saturn and Pisces, and in general, whatever's going on when you listen to this, because it could be timeless, it's going to be a revolutionary impact on you. But we need to understand something the ancestors are saying about who's speaking to you. There's also an exchange of an archangel, an artist, I heard, an angel, or something comparison to, there are sometimes entities on earth that do good upon us just because they do respect us. So this is something based off the word and of the mouth. The word of the mouth is that subconsciously when I meditate, I come into the word of the mouth, which is to me that I'm highly respected, I'm highly due my time, and now I can highly inherit my composure and posture and understand who I am also in my own representation of what I'm growing and gifting, right? And my magic song just came on. How should I move this? Those are the cute. Let me excuse me. Let me turn off some of my music. So I want to come close to the marbles, because a strong comparison for who speaks up for you is going to be based off what you're practicing. So we're going to come into a site. You've been trying to open your site, this pile. This pile, you have been wanting to open your site, and it's coming to a strong configuration of just the moon cycles and the way that the earth has been moving past the planes. Or if you haven't been taking any vacation, I'm hearing needing to vibrate yourself higher. This is not trying to be impulsive and hurtful towards us, but it's speaking also that short short distance trips are still what is needed to heighten your vessel and do so. Also music, the exchange of art. But Spirit really is saying that there's going to be a time that's coming in August that also is a space that revolutionizes also with the way that the harvest is about to get, like, initially the trees will incubate different harvests for different hemispheres. It bases its intention with the ancestors are speaking highly to me that whatever is coming into a foreclosure will be strengthened. And so Spirit is communicating to me that the tuning in enunciation of a spiritual ability, or the tuning in of you now outreaching to a source that you can give to. If your intent has been, and you've been writing in your diary every morning, I want to dedicate myself to learning to love myself. I want to dedicate to myself to learning how to do calisthenics. I want to, do you understand? So the ancestral spirits are highly representing this at this time and space, which is speaking about it's your ability to ask for the exchange you want to inherently take. So the August season is going to be a strong deliverance of a detoxification method based off the hemispheres moving as well. So it speaks to me that where you have laid great harvest, write down and balance in your sheets, your documents, wherever you place down, and wherever you're wanting to grow more and have a balance of access in your home. Make sure you have a cleanliness balance of access in your home, because I'm seeing people being able to increase their vegetation endeavors in both the insides of their homes as well, and actually how homes are going to start to increase and develop. So it does speak to me that a lot of people in this pile are coming to an exposure of true inheritance. I'm also seeing a lot of people in this pile needing to get some support, because there have been people that have been overly exposed to the method of video or camera, and they're coming, or they're needing to come into their greater needs. because of something that will end, that will sacrifice or show people. It's like a lens that's going to come through in July of 24, where we're almost going to see each other very widely and openly because of something that was rehabilitated in August. So the ancestral spirits to me saying that we have to give respects to where everyone is, because you may be laughing in November about someone who loses prospects, that may be undelivered their circumstance, undelivered their sense of self, and lost. And then by August now, that had been a signature that has now overexposed a way that you have now not taken time to detox, to recognize yourself, and these schemes actually hurting you because they're needed to be untied and released from you. So there's going to be a funny contract karma. It could also be like someone who overtalks, maybe getting more fevers or more sneezes. But it does speak to me that the chakras are over delivered around this space. So it does needing to come to a balance, maybe needing to neutralize, because where we share our bodies and our sense of self, the ancestral spirit is telling me that it's going to be a part of luxury. It's going to be a part of, if you paid attention to the beginning of the reading, what I said about luxury, or go down and just press luxury. But luxury to me is when we get a revolution with the ancestral spirit, and we actually have pride for the revolution that is seeked in a very honest way, in a very respectable way that also suits us. So it speaks to me that when the ancestral spirit sees you release something of denial and grief, it can sometimes make people rise to a higher opponents and a higher ability to gravitate. So the ancestral spirit is saying, be based off your attitude and position, because we place you in the right position because you asked to be placed here, but also that you are in control of something that is too premature. You are in control of something that needs changing. You are in control of the consistency of the room. You are in control. Even I'm seeing people who have been boxing for years learn new strategies, and they actually do a type of microdosing method around early June, or when you don't have matches and you take a vacation. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to no one, but I see somebody, and also using chaga and other things, you don't have to go straight to, okay. But I also feel like we're speaking about the strength energy. So I have great ancestors here, boxing, okay, fighting, whatever it may be. Or someone who significantly picked up a ratio of knowing how to kickbox and martial arts and has it in his basement and then finds a certificate. What I feel with this is that someone is becoming a self ownership, and the ancestral spirit is saying that it will be secured. Whatever is also meant to be successful, you have to think in the prospects that it is in assurance, that it is in assurance, it is in security, that it is assured. So it goes by the way of which chakra you're using, discretionate. So if you're a boxer, use different chakras as well. And if you're now, I think you are yourself advancing. If you take some streams in some ways for 2 weeks, to go under a week of water libations, relaxing, a lot of fruits, and kind of like you don't have to eat, you're just detoxing. But I feel like a boxer who swims, I know sometimes swimming, I don't know why this is telling me this, but is this true? Some boxers are scared to swim or something. They feel like not numb, but swimming, the ancestral spirit is saying swimming is about that exchange that the boxers had to take to learn the weight and to learn the resistance and to learn like what they you know what they pride themselves in protecting, their shield, they're protecting their field, their intent. It speaks to me like, sorry, it just speaks to me that the source like mentality is somebody that needed to learn the pride of not just his protection, but vocalizing, and the vocabulary it had to grow, and what it now needed to be prideful for in order to protect itself, showing by means the harboring of the picture outward. When you're swimming, you have to loosen because you have strong energy, so you can cultivate and magnetize. So that means that you have to be brave of yourself and letting go of your mind sometimes, and knowing actually the meditation is also rest. Imagine a boxer that goes through a lot of rehabilitation with rest, ice. That's, I think, a very that no wonder it's showing me also there's like ancestral spirits speaking to me about just a lot of technology coming into a rhythm when you do speak to your chakras, when you do confide into what is around the room, that you clear it. I'm also seeing somebody needing to be somebody trying to get an access of their mental sphere of how they could be more open-minded towards being more vocal in the relevance of what they create. So all you could do is in your diary draw a circle, and anytime you're bringing thoughts to yourself, seriously, draw a circle. When you speak out, all of a sudden say, okay, I'm gonna open the circle, let's go. You'll get thoughts, right? Because you do that. Write down your thoughts wherever you want it to be around the circle. Later on that day, sit down in meditation and don't judge the circle, but your thoughts, it's like you're a boxer. You know how to like say what you want to say at the right time and the right rhythm. It's like a drum, right? And also you can leave words out as well to estimate a picture protection. I don't care about that word. I'm about to go under here. You know? So yes, because the water is okay. The ancestors are saying that they want you to protect your abilities as you're growing, and you've inherited a lot of life experience. Oh my God, this energy is amazing. Good for you. There's a lot of sun energy. Ooh, I'm also feeling many people with strong stature, strong abilities. Oh shit, and then okay, and then something about July season. There's going to be also an interference coming through. It's not a bad one, but there's something coming in with this may sound crazy. Don't give too much in for something that you just needed to be patient to grow. Somebody who has come to this, somebody who has reappeared in the significance of this agreement, baby, your ancestors sat down with God and said, zoo, 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 bitch, we can sign this signature, because I am speaking to people who come from ancestors who have signed their signatures. And I don't mean on paper. The water to me speaks about the signing of the signature, reminds me that of now, which is your ancestors are saying that any sexual trauma or any sexual fears from this pile, and people who also come to a stronger assertion of their stamina, or who are players or sportive people, needing to really recognize excuse me. Yeah. Okay, excuse me. I just left. Uh, um, I remember I left a door open, but I didn't leave the door open. I opened the gate too much, and I'm like, let me close that shit. It's night, and you can just get into my home. So I wanted to say one last thing, respectfully, to end this reading. This is coming up again as well, which is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords to me does speak about in trying to take in. It's like a position that's going to be exchanged, or that needs to be passed through around this time, will be that nobody will ever tell you how to deliver yourself. Nobody will ever ask you or tell you how you can assure your needs when you are going through experiences, or have raised yourself, or are learning to raise a strong influence of yourself. It is that you do have a story, and it does speak to me that the story that could be ingrained in the physical sphere, sometimes it's like, I'm really just seeing like, this sounds so crazy, but I just saw somebody that's like a professional boxer, like one of these, like, I'm not going to say so, but I just saw somebody in a pool, and they looked down to me, and I was looking up, and I'm like, it was like they're in an orca. And he looked down at me and he said, fuck, what happens when you're in a big bowl with just glass and all the water leaves and all you have left is just money? Someone didn't pay their water bill, or something happened where if the energy in the house goes and keeps going, there's only going to be now the exchange of the generation, right? Like the generator is the motive. So this ancestral energy was spoken to the ancestor about that. And he limbs it and he says, I don't hear. But it's a memory he needed to understand about his inheritance at a young age. Because now he's seeing it at a time of his life of success. Okay. And then he looked down upon me and I saw that he was looking at a society that was not built off a choice we asked, but now that it's built off a choice that he sees, 2 of Cups. When you bring one dark for the one light as well. How you rationalize with your moon and your sun every day. Yourself, who you bring into the gravity respectfully. And it shows to me, he just kind of looked down like, you can have so much money, but it's like, how do I get down from here? I don't know what you're talking about. You're an orca. Like, we can't get you out. Like, imagine everyone in the stadium go fucking crazy and try to get this orca out. And so we're like, ah! And then it builds the rotation of the orca just feeling literally like they're in the middle of a rock earthquake, bitch. Like, So when the ancestors are speaking to me about respecting the revolutionary art of water as well, because I actually did see that an intuitive ability that someone can have when they reincarnate through the ancestry is water. Water is the alchemicalized form of fire that can never be distinguished. It's always on. So when it has an earth, it has a physical placement, like a projection, like a home, where the shadow spirits can be underworked, overworked, or attained in Emperor energy. We're looking about how did we build the Rhine, or you know what I mean? Sorry, there's some strong energy come. I love the topic though. Strong energy do come. Let me say one more thing though, because I felt an ancestral. This is kind of like going to be a tough geek kind of Akashic Historia. I just want to go into. I saw something really cool. Okay, sorry, my sisters be like, girl, you can get 4 cards. You can tell the story and you can move on. Thank you. But it spoke to me about that dream. It's funny because it's like that dream, right? It's like one person is at the top and they're filled up in this water that we're all amazed by. But it's not the sometimes it's like people are starting to recognize like there's obviously a lot of attention at this time with AIDS. So that would speak to me about there's people communication, there's attention, and it feels to me also a lot of people in this pile that are still here, if they're still here. Sometimes when there's a lot going on around you and based off you build practical energy around your practices, and if you do so, you'll know how to move away quicker. And that's also what's happening because this is a revolutionary card of the intuitive gift and abilities that divine is giving us from youthful experience that's coming back to us, or a reminder of how our generation looks up to our adult ancestors, and it creates that projection of their story that revolutionizes through them as well, right? And so that thing that is built of water, it speaks to me though, that's meant to be taken with delicacy, because the ancestral spirit did open a card that there's going to be also a lot of, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. We're at success. 6 of discs. Only share enough and only share as much and learn from everything else. Oh, I want to share with you guys my art before I leave, because when you see my journey, when I keep moving on and moving forward, the great sit. When you feel the greatness, I wanna show you guys. Excuse me. I want to show you guys my art before. Oh my god! Look at me being all geeky and me stuttering and shit. Okay, so I want to show you my art before, in different. Oh my gosh! In next few videos, you'll see more art. That's what I'm trying to say. But let me show you some of my art. Oh, can you guys see? No, give me a light that they could see whatever they need to see. Okay. There. You guys can see? That's okay. Ready? I'm gonna show you guys a few, okay? Okay. Thank you. Oh shit. Okay. This is Saturn. It was inspired by the bead, the marble I have, Saturn. And other marbles too. Botswana agates. Yeah, Botswana agate is here. Woo, woo. Horus. Yes, baby. Oh, do you see this? Look at the lines. Yes, baby. Do you see this beauty? Do you see this? Ooh, do you see this? Ooh, do you see this? If you look closer, the editing is the bomb, baby. Ooh, ooh. I was outside on the street. And everyone was just chilling at the restaurant, and can I see? Now I can remember my summers. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that summer. I love the like lines. Like I said, like I need to get a flashlight. So I love the lines. So they're cute, baby. Oh, maybe I can just do this though. Come on. Do you guys see? Okay, that's cute. Oh my god, look at the bottom, eh? That's so cute. You guys like that too? Some guy saw the bottom one and he's like, whoa, can I just take that and double it? I'm like, I mean, I could. It's like coded. I can remember. I can see the colors, right? And I have one more. So this one's very weird. Like this one happened recently when there was fireworks and just like a lot of energy moving through the alley and just like a lot of fucking construction work. And I'm just like, air be gone, or air, not like that, but air moves, like, or air was speaking to me. Air was speaking to me, and I want to show you guys some crazy shit I saw here, because this reminds me of like the two faces. And respectfully, do you guys see the bottom? It kind of looks like a face. Okay. Let me come closer. Do you see the bottom? It looks like a face. Oh, fuck. Can you guys see? Gotta go on my Instagram. But it looks like a face, right? Like a guy, and he's like, I don't know. It just looks like a face, eh? And then when you flip it, it's another face. And it's like, look, if you guys can't see it, I was about to hold it with my teeth, excuse me. So right here is the eye, right? Yeah, there. Can you see it? Yeah, that's like the eye. So this is the eye, this is the nose, this is the lips, you know? And he kind of looks sad. And then this one looks kind of contemplative. Yeah, do you see that? He's like, you know? So it kind of shows me like, oh yeah, that week was crazy. That week was like like all these have so much spiritual meaning. Okay, but let me talk to you about this week though. Did you guys like that? Thank you. Thank you. So this is just for the fans only. Okay. So listen, I literally there was a lot of spirits speaking that week, I remember. And it's so funny because when you look at on my Instagram, you'll see the picture fully. But it feels like an extraterrestrial energy. It's like in the background, and then there's like two faces of the same face that, if I'm going to be honest, the story behind this was like very strong. And I was just sitting in the cafe, right? And there's just all these ancestors, Vietnamese ancestors next to me. And I felt so comfortable drawing. And I recognize that I just draw so much. I don't even pay attention to any standards. And I realized that when I draw, it opens this free play world for people. Like, it just extends energy. And it's so funny because the guy next to me is like, before I opened it, I was already listening to their language. And I'm like, I don't speak their language, but I'm hearing it like I'm hearing it, I swear. And I even started to laugh, and they started to look at me because they're like, oh, why are you laughing? I'm like, I feel like I know what you're saying. Like, because I'm just like, when I draw, I'm really like in everyone's business, but like not like that, but like, I don't know. Like, I need all of you guys to paint the canvas. Not that I take from anybody. I'm really like the biggest introvert, which is an Aquarius power. I'm not really that introverted. No, maybe it is. So it's so funny because there was so much energy going on, and I felt like wherever you travel, you still attract people that you create imagery of. So this man reminded me of my father, or the way he spoke about energy. But then I started to, before I cuss people out, spirit comes out like with me and sits and starts to actually teach me about their ancestry. You know what I mean? So not everything is arrogance or angry. It's actually like understanding. Because I used negativity as the way to uplift me. And it wasn't just based off blaming somebody. And sometimes in our cultures, we have people that we're all trying to inherit and take path of a boundary and something we can take care of and inherit still. We don't want to be disconnected from even knowing our right to fulfill and continue to fulfill the spirit and our purpose. Meaning it's a voice. So I couldn't judge him because it made me open my heart up. And then because the challenge was not the challenge, it was the fact that, guys, I started this. So like they saw and they're like, just like, I'm sorry, I need to take a video of before and after my shit because it's weird how quick it moves. I'm not joking. And I remember I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finish this when they're here. I know I'm gonna finish it. And God told me, take it easy, like you have an idea and you finish it the day of, like, and I'm like, okay. And I let it go because they're respectable people. We had a lot of respect for each other. And it's so funny because I was looking down and drawing, and an ancestor came to me, and there's like literally it was like the cricket and the master, and he literally like gave me shadow, and I'm like, and I was like this, and then I literally I'm like slowly I'm like, like put your head up, child, and I put my head up, and I said, oh yes, and I answered his question, and it's so funny because I draw it how I looked, and then when you flip it, it looks like him. And when he looked down, and it's like, let me see. He's kind of like looking down. He reminded me of my grandfather too. His like ancient language was like my grandfather in terms of respectfulism, coming up to people with respect and kind of being like, it's very traditional. And I feel like I drew him too. So when he came to me with respect, I didn't feel like it was a bad gesture. It was actually a very informative gesture. And he walked to me and I felt very respected. Even though when you come into the West, or it doesn't matter who you are, we may not practice different steps. So we forget the natural flow of money, which is joy, which is respect, and how we exchange. So I thought that was very strong. I also think this card respects a lot of types of travels because Spirit told me when I was revolutionizing it before I've even touched it, Spirit said there's going to be the water that falls, the water that has chi, and the water that glows. So they said the vision is 3 waterfalls. And these look like waterfalls, but very distinct waterfalls. They look like jungle waterfalls. They look like waterfalls. They look like you're looking through someone, but there's jungle around you. You can't pay attention, but see all this water. So it did remind me of that day, what happened, and also the signature I laid, which is I had a vision because I don't draw, guys, to draw. I don't even remember half of it. My favorite thing about drawing is going out and drawing and seeing people, being around people, speaking to people. And when I'm out there, it's like different exchange. I'm like, whoo. It just makes my work move. And it's a revolutionary art of an experience I saw. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Because I'm telling you, the way I start does not look like where I'm moving. And there's stories that came through this too. I learned stories about people next to me, even though they don't have to tell me. I knew their uncles. I knew, it was weird. Oh, yeah, because I was going to say, I don't just draw to draw. I actually just see things. I see a lot of things, and I'm supposed to be someone who spends time relaxing because it's like more things come to me, and I start to see, well, this is actually what I'm supposed to do. I could see it's like the octopus represents Mars, Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and all qualities. And it has 8 tentacles, or it can expand up to 8 or 6. So an octopus is revolution. And there's an octopus on this picture. That's what I say. An octopus is revolutionary in the projections of utilizing itself in seeing its hemispheres grow to then know when to stabilize. So there are people who grow up in this, they rise in an ancestral rising aspect towards where they are connected and gravitized to many streams. But when you least see someone's energy, that doesn't mean that that's when they die. So you could be seeing someone in a planetary alignment of their stellium, and you know they are, you could feel them. So it speaks to me revolutionary power that ancestor gave to me, that I felt I received from his mother, who she was speaking to me. Not to disrespect, but I don't come with disrespect. So, but to really be honest, and it's so funny because she didn't show me her face, which I don't need to ask anything. I don't ask like that. But what the point is the ancestral soul was showing me a face that she keeps seeing from her ancestors. So the ancestral soul said, remind them that the ancestors are looking upon your children to remind them of their view and their mirror. So that portrait I just painted, or it's not painting, it's a pastel work, but the inspiration of that is that the last theme is the ancestors are speaking about the graffiti to the wall, the grit to the energy, to the ancestors want to start seeing their children be viewed. And it's funny because my great grand ancestor that I was working with in my prayer meditation before I got in the building. I didn't even know I was going to draw there. I was passing by washing my hands, and I stopped there and I felt comfortable and safe. I felt like we forget how to feel safe because we need people to create the niche and the clique but there's a safety sometimes with all the crazy people in the right place, because that place like, for respect, I'm like, all the crazy people in the same place, you guys have like a very neutralized hemisphere. I don't know. So, and not to disrespect, that's really what it was when I began. So, and I felt comfortable, and I'm like, oh, I'm crazy. It's not kidding, but I was like, no one needs to be. I need to be here too. So, respectfully, this is July 29th. I hope everyone makes their wish. This is a week that you're supposed to make wishes. August 1st is very important. Okay, so inheritance comes my way in the passageway. I respect all, intuitive eyes with all. I ask my sisters at this time to regard this reading, send it off with love and pleasure and appreciation. If you liked anything that you picked up, release it, write it down, or you can comment down below. Like, share. Thank you. And mastery. Yes.